Okay, so I'm watching this doc on Netflix, and right now they're in the country Benin, which is in Africa, and right now they're going to Abomey, right up there, and that's where the many of the slave trades began. There was a kingdom of Dahomey, and the kingdom of Dahomey did deals with the Europeans. They gave some slaves away in order to get supplies and other things that they wanted. And so this doc actually brings this point home about the slave trade and how Africans were actually involved in the slave trade of other Africans to the Europeans. So one interesting thing too, if you look at this map at the very corner there, it says Oida. Oida. In older maps, they called that place the Kingdom of Judah. So many slaves came out of there, and they called that the Kingdom of Judah on a map, or Oida, or Judah, or Uda, or Judah, or Yuda. So very interesting that we in Africa have a place called Oida, which was originally called at one point the Kingdom of Judah. And many of the slaves that came to the Americas came from out of there. And why? I'm wondering. But anyway, let's move a little bit forward because I'm gonna take it in and show you what this man, this African historian from the country, actually had to say about Africans' involvement in slavery.
Étant donné que, à un moment donné, le royaume de Dahomey était réputé
He said at one point the kingdom of Dahomey had the reputation
comme
of being the biggest kingdom of the slave trade.
le plus grand royaume esclavagiste. À partir de la
He says from the beginning of the creation of the kingdom,
création de ce royaume, il y a eu des velléités
there was a will of expansion.
d'élargir. On garde des gens ici
He said they brought people here to grow the kingdom.
pour le développement du royaume et on en
He said, and they sent some that were requested by Europeans.
voit certains selon la demande des Européens. Ça ne veut pas dire
This isn't to say, as Africans,
que nous, Africains, nous n'avons pas participé
we did not participate in slavery.
à l'esclavage. On n'y a rien participé
We definitely participated because we agreed to provide.
parce qu'on a accepté fournir aux Européens
Europeans with the manpower they wanted. Daggone shame. And here in the Matrix, here in the Americas, they have us just solely thinking that Europeans were just so sophisticated enough to take and go and pillage Africa in that way. And that's not how it happened. Why is it that there are some Africans that are still there in Africa, and then there's people of who are descendants from these African enslaved, not slaves, but enslaved, that are here and other places in the Caribbeans and all of that, because many of them were sold into slavery for goods and different things that and different agreements made with other Europeans. So we have to understand, in order to understand the matrix and where we're at, we have to understand the history of it. And that's what this video is about, understanding the history of it. So so-called melanated, so-called African Americans, so-called black people, you need to understand that everything that you think and everything that's been told to you is not necessarily the truth. But you need to have your eyes opened up so you understand where you're at and understand how to navigate and move and maneuver around in the matrix here.
I mean, this is a place where you can still walk the actual road the enslaved walked. It was a vile march, a march that ended in a city called Ouida, where so many of us left never to return again.
So see here, he mentioned the place Ouida that I just talked about at the beginning of this video. Ouida was also called the Kingdom of Judah. Some Europeans called it Judah. And why? Because I'm just going to say it. There might have been some people who were practicing and believing in and following the Most High according to the Israelites. Because there are Israelite groups in Africa. So this place was called the Kingdom of Ouida or Judah. He's calling it Ouida. And so these people many of these slaves walked from walked from Abomey all the way down to Ouida, which is near the coast of Africa, where they went on to slave ships and came to the Americas and Caribbeans and all of that. So, hey, you got to understand where you're at in the matrix, understand the origins of history, and you got to study all of history to understand the matrix. Peace.